Bob Marley, One Love is the recent musical biopic that of course focuses on the life and music of the iconic Bob Marley. I'm not the biggest Bob Marley fan in the world, so I went into this movie knowing very little about his life and story. And for the most part, this film delivered on an entertaining but flawed look into his life. Spoilers for the film, although it's based on true events, so spoilers for history, I suppose. Right off the bat, this film opens with text that explains that Jamaica is in the midst of unrest due to two different political parties that are running against each other, and Bob Marley is planning a concert that will be a show of peace and unity for the country. The scene that follows directly after this text is one with Bob Marley being interviewed in which he states the exact same thing. To me, this is an early sign that this film will have a hard time getting its message across to the audience. The music is the message is a theme that is constant throughout this film that I really liked, and really represents Bob's music very well. The main plot of this movie centered around how Bob is trying to bring peace and unity to Jamaica through his music. However, a majority of the runtime focuses on different problems entirely. There's an entire arc in this film that is dedicated to showing the relationship between Bob and his wife Rita Marley, and the troubles that arise from the fame. However, this film did very little early on to establish this relationship and make us care, because it was focusing on establishing the concert that Bob was planning to unite Jamaica. The choice to bounce back and forth from these two problems means that both of them don't get the proper attention and depth that they deserve. We know that there's tension between these two political parties, but the film doesn't really explain why that is at all. That's really the main gripe I had with this film, as there is a lot to appreciate and love. I like how they decide to focus on just one time period of Bob's life rather than trying to cover everything. However, the film did have quite a few flashback sequences that messed with the pacing. Also, the performances were great, with all the actors disappearing into their roles. The accents were a little hard to understand at points, but I like how they stuck with the authenticity. This film had a shockingly low score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I just wanted to say that it's not that bad. It's an okay movie, but not a 41%. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Although, I am a big fan of music biopics and music history, so maybe I'm going easy on it. See the movie for yourself and see what you think. Overall, this movie falls into a lot of the same pitfalls that many music biopics do, and fails at bringing something exciting and new to the genre. It's a shame because Bob Marley is such an iconic figure who changed the music landscape. I could have used more screen time focusing on the songwriting process, but I understand it's hard since there's a lot of ground to cover. There were some problems with plot meandering around and pacing issues, but they weren't too egregious. It's an alright film and enjoyable for the most part. A solid 3.5 stars in my book. This has been Tom from Eisenhart Productions, and thank you so much for watching. See you next week.